Good morning to all our Jobs for Michigan's graduates, family, and supporters joining us for Coffee with a Purpose, the pandemic's effect on youth disengagement from education and employment. My name is Kristen Harrington, and I have the pleasure of serving as the Executive Director for Youth Solutions, the nonprofit inspiring and connecting youth to achieve a future beyond imagination. Today, I am honored to be joined by my co-moderator, Pat Rowe, Vice President of Philanthropy at Strada Education Network, and by our JMG panelists, Antoine Hayes, Joanne Trainer, and Sheena Saffold. As always, they are the true stars of this coffee hour, and we will be hearing from each of them momentarily. Coffee with a Purpose began almost a year ago as everyone was grappling with and adjusting to life in a pandemic. Our first topic was COVID-19, the impact on Michigan's youth, which enabled our panel to speak on the new challenges brought on by the pandemic. Now, almost a year later, youth are still struggling with the impact of the pandemic as disconnection from education and employment hits a record high of 1 in 3 Michigan youth. Today, we want to hear firsthand testimonials of disconnection while exploring opportunities to reverse the trend of disengagement. I'm blessed to welcome Pat Rowe from Strada Education Network to lead this important discussion with me. Strada has been a partner of Youth Solutions since 2015, launching our initial programs in Detroit Public Schools Community District and supporting the success of JMG's Detroit programs ever since. Strada's mission is to improve lives by forging clearer and more purposeful pathways between education and employment, and Pat has been living this mission for decades. Welcome, Pat. It's so good to have you with us this morning to share your insights and help lead this conversation.
Well, thank you, Kristen. It is a pleasure to be here, and we've had a little time to get to know our panelists this morning. And so I'm looking forward to this conversation. You know, this is about engaging our young people in a discussion about the challenge of youth disconnection. And this is something that we are dealing with nationwide here. By sharing the new challenges and barriers that not only youth, but everyone is facing right now through the pandemic, we'll develop a more holistic understanding of what's working and what isn't to better support successful outcomes for our young people. Now, I got a script here, everybody, so understand I'm kind of reading and going back and forth, but nonetheless, this is an amazing topic here. With this in mind, let me begin to introduce our esteemed JMG panelists. We have Antoine Hayes, who is a senior from Pershing High School in Detroit. We have Joanne Trainer, who is a JMG alum of the year 2020. I'm excited to hear what you have to say there. And also we have, and he is from the Ingham County. And then we have Sheena Saffold, who is our youth development specialist for the JMG program through our partnership with the Detroit Employment Solutions Corporation. Thank you all for being here. We have over 100 attendees joining us today for this amazing discussion. But you know what? Just think about it being us having a little chat on this Zoom call, of which those of us who have championed Zoom, and I think we all have, okay, over this past year, it'll just be like conversation over coffee, over juice, donuts, you know, but we do want to impart a little knowledge here. So again, I appreciate the opportunity to be with you guys today. Now let's get into our talk. Kristen, take it away.
Oh, I love that, Pat. Thank you. And I'll echo everything Pat said. We're so excited that you are all here joining us for the discussion today. For our audience members who are behind the scenes, if you wish to ask a question of our panelists, please use the chat function. We do have people monitoring throughout the session and have reserved time at the end for several audience questions. So now, with housekeeping aside and coffee freshly brewed, let's get started. First, I'll ask our panelists to introduce themselves. So Joanne, let's start with you.
Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good morning. I hope everybody's having a good morning. My name is Joanne Trainer. I am a JMG alumni from last year. I've been a part of JMG for about 2 years, almost 3 years. I started this program from inside the Ingham County correction system, actually, which is kind of like the weirdest way to start a program like this. But at the same time, it was very eye-opening for me. It was actually very helpful for me too, because growing up, I had a lot of issues with hanging out with the wrong crowd, being around the wrong people. Even though I knew I had a lot of potential within myself when I was growing up, I got a lot of help from other people, a lot of different programs and stuff like that. But I still decided to go down the wrong path, and that was all on myself. But I stumbled across JMG, and I stumbled across my great mentor, Tracy. She's a great mentor, great mentor. Just want to let that be known right now. And they help me and they push me and they strive me to not give up, really. And I haven't. Given up as soon as I got out of the justice system. I went straight to work and I have not looked back. And I just continue to keep pushing forward and keep pushing forward.
Wonderful.
I love it. Thank you so much, Juan. All right, let's hear from Antoinette.
Hi, my name is Anthony Hayes. I'm 17. I go to Persian High School. I've been in JAG program for a year now. And yeah, it's been a very interesting and successful year with Ms. Miller. And I'm very appreciative to be in her class.
Thank you.
Great.
And for anybody who's not aware, JAG is Jobs for America's Graduates, our national affiliate organization. All right, last but not least, Sheena.
Good morning, everyone. Great hearing from Anthony and Jawan. My name is Sheena Saffold, and I am a Youth Development Specialist, JMG Specialist in Detroit with Detroit Employment Solutions Corporation. And I've been there for about 3 years. As I told our panelists a little before, I'll share with everyone else, I was in a totally different field before I began working in this career with young people. And I can say this has been the best career move that I have ever made in my life. It's so rewarding. And I work with one of the greatest teams there is, in my opinion, in Detroit, under Lester Gaden. I really look forward to going to work every day, knowing that I'm going to have a personal impact on at least one person's life for that day, be it to help them make a good decision or steer them away from doing something that they may possibly do that may impact their life for the rest of their life. So I truly appreciate being a specialist. I appreciate being on this panel, and thank you for thinking of me to invite me to be involved with these great young people.
Oh, absolutely. And shout out to Lester, Carolyn, and Tracy, dynamic members of Jobs for Michigan's graduates team, for making today possible. Back to you, Pat.
All right. Well, the topic for today's discussion is the pandemic's effect on youth disengagement from employment and education. With our panel, we will discuss some of the challenges that they are facing and possible solutions to reverse this trend. So let's begin, Joanna, Antoinette. Let's talk about how significantly has the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted your education. Antoinette, let's start with you.
Yes, the pandemic really disrupted my education a lot by being virtual. Like, it's very, very hard being virtual because I don't have a teacher there when I need help, or if I need something, any of that stuff, they're not there. And it's just been very, very crazy. But I try my best to, get in contact with them when I need it.
Good.
And everything like that.
Great. That's important. And I think one of the key things that you said right there is you got in touch with them. You got that inner strength going to get in touch with them when you needed to reach out. And you know what? In life, that's what you're really going to have to do consistently, is to really gain that personal um, um, interactions and that strength in order to reach out and have those interactions there. Juwan, let's turn over to you now. You had a powerful story coming in, and I'm so glad to see that you've gotten back on the right track. So tell us a little bit about how COVID and this pandemic has impacted your education thus far.
Yeah, so right now I'm in the process of trying to get my CDL Class A, right? So the hardest thing for me at this moment is I have to take a written test, Secretary of State, and we all know how hard it is to get into the Secretary of State right now. And I'm the type of person where, for me to learn, I have to be like constantly keep going, keep going, keep going back to it, keep going back to it. And right now, I can't constantly keep going to it, keep going back to it because of the fact that I have to schedule an appointment, and then I have to wait for that appointment, and then I have to do it all over again, and then keep doing it again, just keep doing it again. So it's kind of been affecting me in a way. Just having that little bit of time in between me taking each test is kind of affected me a lot, because I know a lot of other people have the same issue where they feel like if they want to pass a test or something, they got to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. But right now, it's not really as easy because, you have to schedule an appointment, you have to wait for the appointment, and then, so forth, so forth. So
Definitely understandable, but I'm glad again you did the same thing. You're just having that stick to it mindset there. So what are you kind of doing in between these times, the appointments, or trying to get the appointments scheduled and scheduling?
like I said, Tracy is a great mentor. So she's constantly sending me all different types of strategies for me to keep trying to study. She keeps getting on me and making sure that I'm studying. And she knows I have a busy schedule all the time and every time. And she still makes sure she messages me. She even messages me on Facebook, even though sometimes I might not text her back or something. She makes sure that she interacts with me. She makes sure she gets on my butt and be like, Juwan, I see you. I know. I want you to, today I need you to study just for like 5 to 10 minutes. 5 to 10 minutes.
Excellent. That, a mentor is one of the best things in life to have, because they do keep pushing and pushing and pushing, but more
Absolutely.
importantly, putting things on your mind there. So that's great. Stay busy, both of you. Antoinette, here's a couple questions for you. Has school been completely virtual this year?
Yes.
Okay, it has. Okay. And do you find it difficult to stay focused?
A lot of the times, because I have siblings and animals, and they got TVs going on, microwaves, but I try to just block everything out. Plus my phone, always getting emails and stuff. But I try my best to stay positive and just stay, interactive with what's going on.
So have you been able to remain interactive with your classmates during this time?
Kinda. I mean, I really don't talk to nobody like that. I really don't have no friends or nothing. So, like, if I need help or I need help with something, I either, do it on my own or get in contact with a teacher or, just try my best to get it done.
Okay, that's good. I mean, again, that's that stick to it mindset that you have to have in life, period. And you guys are pretty young right now, but you'll recognize and you'll reflect on this experience 10 years down the road when the next challenge comes before us, just as a country, as a nation. And you say, you know what, this is kind of similar to what we went through with the pandemic. I think the difference will be we won't have the isolation, or at least we hope we won't have the isolation that we've had during this time. What would you like your teachers to realize in regard to these challenges? What would you have wanted your teachers to do differently during this pandemic time and experience?
Actually, just keep doing what they've been doing, being there, being present every day, showing their faces, um, giving us time on our assignments. Like they give us so much time to complete an assignment, and that is so good for them right now. What's going on? I just want them to know that I'm trying my best. Trying to stay focused and get the assignments done and participate even when others not. Just being there so I can just like make them feel like they're doing their best.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Had you been going to school and it not been virtual? Okay, we had our regular. What kind of activities did you participate in while you were in school?
I was in different mentor programs. I'm actually in a law enforcement program with one of my teachers. Just joining programs. Going different field trips. You know, um, Different opportunities.
Okay. And so let me ask, are you the oldest in your family?
No, I actually have a twin sister. She's 2 minutes older than me, and
Okay, so
I have younger siblings.
okay. So are you mentoring the younger siblings? Are they looking up to you in terms of what you're doing?
Yeah,
Okay. So you know what? Actually, you are performing some invaluable functions right now as a young person that is in the midst of the pandemic because you set the stage for your younger brothers and sisters and maybe some of their friends too. And volunteering period is probably some of the best things that you can do during this time of a pandemic. And because you have younger siblings, your parents are also really dependent upon you and your sister and your older siblings as well to kind of help them get through this because they're as challenged as everybody else right now. So I just want to appreciate you and applaud you for being that beacon in their lives also because I think you're doing a little bit more than what you think you are. And sometimes we just don't realize it was when it's in our own family structure like that. But just you be remaining positive, you remaining focused has really come a long way as it relates to just again, that inner strength and your character as an individual.
thank
So
you.
Miss Sheena, I want to turn this direction to you for a minute. One thing ever since I've been involved with the Jobs for America's Graduates Program, the specialists have just been like the superstars, those rock stars for me. And as a specialist who works with both in and out of school youth, what has been your biggest challenge through this pandemic as you work with them to just keep them going, keep them engaged, and to give yourself to them?
Well, Pat, my biggest challenge has been to ensure that they're safe because many times young people don't realize the type of situation that we're living in because it's something that none of us have lived through before unless you're over 100. So it's something really new to everybody. So young people sometimes don't take things for granted as far as wearing a mask, making sure that they keep it on. And then just making sure that a lot of my young people have the things that they need, a lot of the basic things that they need. Because we found when the pandemic first happened, that many of our young people, when we asked them what they needed, they were asking for gift cards for food. They asked for hand sanitizer, just basic things that we may take for granted as having as adults. And those are things that were really on their mind. So that was really my biggest challenge to make sure that all of our young people had the things that they really needed to be able to survive during the pandemic. And then once we get past that part, then keeping up with them, like Jawan said, we may call them and they don't answer the phone, or we see them on Facebook or we see them on some other social media. Just keeping them engaged and wanting to, be involved in what we're trying to help them to achieve.
And let me ask you this follow-up question.
Mhm.
What did the JMG leadership team do for you as a specialist to help you even keep yourself engaged to help keep your mental state where it needed to be?
one thing I can say that they have been, our team here in Michigan they have been providing the weekly meetings for us. And really just, in the beginning, it's just like, whatever you guys want to talk about, we're hosting this so that you guys can know that you're supported and that you are, we're in this with you, and whatever we can do to make life easier for you, we're here to help you. And also my immediate manager, Lester, is the same way. Whatever it is that we may need, I told him a couple weeks ago, I'm like, Lester, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. And he's like, take some time, but I didn't feel like I needed to take time because I'm like, my kids need me, so he's like, just take some time, just take a step back. So, with really being encouraged to take a step back when we need to, and then knowing that you're supported when you, come back from your reprieve, that means the world.
Excellent. And I can also add kudos to Lester, because my management team has done the same thing for us, just making sure, that we're together emotionally, spiritually, just present, And sometimes you do need to take a day or so, even though you're not doing very much, but it's a day of reflection. And Antoinette and Jawan, I would suggest that for you as well. It's okay that you get exhausted, you get tired, and you know what, taking a little time for yourself, even if it's just going outside, breathing some fresh air sometimes, that's good, but we all have to do it to rejuvenate ourselves. So thank you so much. Kristen, I'll kick it back to you.
Yeah, thank you to all of you. I heard a theme of this kind of supportive environment throughout the pandemic that's been brought to you by Jobs for Michigan's graduates, as well as others in your lives, and helping everyone to stay focused in spite of the distractions that are around us. And so thanks to all three of you for kind of highlighting that throughout the conversation. So in Michigan, 88% of the available job listings right now require a high school diploma or higher, yet thousands of youth are disengaging from education every year. And of course, as we know, just by attending this session, even more now as a result of the pandemic. Statewide, K through 12 enrollment dropped over 45,000 between 1920 and 2021 school years. So 45,000 young people disengaging from K through 12. And a Monday article by Bridge Magazine noted less than 55% of 2020 Michigan high school graduates enrolled in college within 6 months of getting a diploma, which was a plummet of 5 percentage points in 1 year. To help youth achieve education and employment success, let's discuss ways to reverse this trend and bring people back into education. So Jawan, your story is just so powerful. Let's start with you. What was your motivation to re-engage in education and work towards your GED?
Well, like I said in my story, I end up in the justice system, and at first it was like, it's whatever. I'm in jail. Who cares? But then I had to really sit down and really think to myself, like, do I want to come here again? Do I want to be in a situation again where I feel like I'm just always trapped, or I'm always feeling like I have to sit behind these bars in order for me to actually feel like that this is the moment that I needed to, get back on track in my life. No, I shouldn't have to be in this predicament for me to be like, yeah, this is the only time for me to do this. So as soon as I got my room and I got, my number and everything, when I got to jail, I signed up for school. And not even a couple days later, I got into school. The same exact day I signed for school, I signed up for a job while I was in the justice system too as well. And I got everything in less than a couple days after that, and I just pretty much stuck it out. I knew that this was my only chance, my opportunity to redeem myself. I didn't want to be back in that situation, and I didn't want to see any of the people that I was around or that have grew up with me or anything be in the same exact situation. And I think that would really push me to go back into education and go get my GED.
It sounds that it was pretty pivotal that those services were being offered while you were still in the justice system. Do you think that you would have still accessed them after you had gotten out, or was it really important that it was integrated into that structure?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I knew it was going to be more of a struggle for me to find a job if I didn't,
Mhm.
because of the fact that I have actually put my name into that system. You know, because when your name is in the justice system and you do background checks for jobs, they see that, you know, that's like the very first thing that they see is you have something on your record, you have something on your name. So the only other way that I can say that you can possibly get a little bit more leeway is if you actually have the certificate, or you can show them that you have the education so you can be able to do the jobs that they need you to do. Or you can show them a certificate and be like, look, you know, I know that I have this on my record, but I also did finish school and I have the skills to actually learn a new skill that you guys want me to learn here at this job or at a different job.
Mhm. So how do you think, Jawan, that we reach young people before they end up in trouble to re-engage them into education, considering all the numbers that I was just talking about?
So when I was younger, I'm, you know, like I said, my story was, you know, I hung out with the wrong people at the wrong times, you know, but I also did drop out. I dropped out when I was in the 10th grade. Actually, I repeated the 10th grade, so I dropped out. Because, you know, I didn't want to be that guy that everybody, oh yeah, he repeated the 10th grade and all that. So I started working. I started working real young. I started working when I was 15 years old. I had my very first job. I was doing kind of construction, and that's what it was. And at that point, and you like 15, 16 years old, and you're already working, making money. You know, the first thing in your mind is like, what do I need to go to school for?
Mhm.
You know, what's the reason I need to go to school for if I'm already working? I'm already engaging in, you know, cashing a check and, you know, put money in my bank account and stuff like that. So what do I need to go to school for? And that was the reason why I dropped out, because I had already got to that point where I was doing stuff that the people who are older than me were already doing. I'm already making money. So what's the point of me going to school?
Mhm.
So my biggest thing is that I didn't have, you know, like those certain programs come to my neighborhood. You know, they was at the schools. You know, you had to go to the school to go to these.
Mhm.
You had to go to these community centers to go to these programs and stuff like that. But in all honesty, in order to get to those kids, especially to the ones that are in those homes that you know have trouble homes, or that, you know, are low income homes and stuff like that, you have to go to those communities. Because if you don't go to those communities and show those kids that, look, we are here and we are here to help you guys, then they're not going to engage. You know, yeah, you can post a flyer and look, we're at this community center, come stop by, have fun, we've got free drinks, food and stuff like that. But 9 times out of 10, those kids are not going to come because it's not in their neighborhood. It's in a whole different location where they want to go or they want to be at, you know. So, you know, bring it to them. Bring those programs to them. Bring it to their neighborhoods. Bring it to, especially those low income neighborhoods. Bring it to them because they don't know those programs are out there. They don't see those programs are out there. And when they do find out about those programs, it's usually about somebody else that's in a different situation than they are in. You know, they look at it at the next person and they want to be like them. Especially kids. Kids see another kid, he got a nice pair of shoes on. That kid wants those shoes, right? You know, he see those shoes. He's like, oh, that's a nice pair of shoes. I want those shoes. And he goes to his mom. He's like, Mom, I want those shoes. But his mom, she don't have the money to buy those type of shoes. So what did he do? He feels like, okay, you're just trying to be better than me. So that's how a lot of kids feel about those programs, especially the kids that are in those programs too. They see those kids that are in those programs. They're like, oh, well, you must have did something for you to be in that program. So So you must be like a goody two shoe or something. So if you go to those kids who feel like that, like you show those kids like these programs are here, I'm guaranteed that those kids will open their eyes. They will open their eyes and they will be more interactive. They will try to reach out more.
Wow, I feel like this is such an important point for me as a practitioner or someone who is in this space, because your comments on bringing it to them, bringing it to young people, we do so much from an adult lens, always looking at what we want rather than what the young person we're serving is really needing from the moment. And so I think, Juwan, you really highlighted all that for me personally. So thank you. What are some of the greatest challenges, and you touched on some of them, that you see young people facing that keep them from getting their diploma or equivalent degree?
Like I said, the biggest thing for me was that I had already, when I got to a certain age, I was already making that money.
Yeah.
So a lot of kids, they want to make money. They want to have money because they want to get those things that they want. They want that nice pair of shoes. They want to, see their mom in a nice house. They want to, drive that nice car and stuff like that. So, let's talk about this. Gangs and like drug dealers and stuff like that, they're meant to make you feel like family to them. They're meant to they do that on purpose. They make you feel like you're their brother, you're their sister, they're family to you. So that makes, once you see somebody that's in your neighborhood or your hood or anything coming to you like, look, come here, little bro, I got some money for you.
Mm-hmm.
They get disengaged, they get distracted because they like, okay, this person, he has money and he's giving me money and he's giving me the opportunity to get money. And that's like the biggest challenge that a lot of young kids face, whether you're African American, Caucasian, doesn't matter. When somebody comes to you and they're like, look, I got money for you. All you have to do is do this. Okay, that sounds easy enough. And they're going to go do it. And they're going to continue to keep doing it. And they're going to continue to keep doing it until eventually they get caught. Or they just keep doing it until eventually they don't live no more. Or they end up in the justice system.
Do you think it's been easier during the pandemic for kids to access money?
I feel like it's been a lot harder.
Harder.
Oh, well, no, actually, no, it's a little bit of both because, stimulus, those stimulus packages been,
Right.
paying. So, but I say it's been a little bit harder because it was a point where people were having that drought, people didn't have that money. And it was nothing to really give out to those kids, that needed that money.
Mm-hmm.
But when we did have the stimulus packages and stuff like that, and we're still in the process of getting some of the stimulus money and stuff like that out right now. I think some kids have been getting, some parents have been giving their kids the money that they deserve and need, especially when it comes to like the school needs that they need and stuff like that. And I think most parents probably just give the money to their kids and be like, hey, go to the store, go get the school supplies that you need. But really, the parents should go to the store with them, make sure that all right, the school supplies and stuff that they actually need. So.
Wow. Thank you so much, Juwan. This is just so insightful. Antoinette, let's bring you into the conversation. Juwan touched on it a number of times, but let's hear from your perspective. How do we as adults and educators help young people who have stopped attending school understand the importance of receiving a diploma or some kind of equivalent degree to help motivate them to come back into education?
I feel like, if the teachers and educators, if they keep pushing them and striving them to, do better and do all the opportunities they can do, like come to the houses and, put them in different programs, bring them to different experiences, like what they've been doing. You know, some youth kids don't really take the opportunity to do it because they
Mhm.
feel like there's no point of doing it now, just because you know they think it's other things out there that's more better than education.
Mhm.
But, yeah.
Oh, thank you. Sheena, how about you? What have you been doing during the pandemic to try to identify young people who may have disconnected and bring them back into the education system when our traditional ways of serving young people, which Joanne highlighted, um, aren't necessarily working?
Well, myself and our team, we basically we work with our partner organizations, and we just try to work with our partner organizations to find young people that may have become, disengaged during the pandemic. Also reach out to some of our other young people that we may have had. And that's one good thing I can say about JMG. I was speaking with someone at one of our career tech schools, and I was telling that person that we do the year follow-up. And in that year follow-up, it's a key component to assisting these young people. And many times when you're following up with the young people, they may have, because especially this year, I've had them, ask, well, do you have this for my sister or this for my brother or some other family members that they may have. So that's how we really do it, by being engaged and making sure once we get that contact with that young person, that we stay on top of it and make sure that we follow up and continue working with them and making sure that their needs are being met and that they can receive the services that we're offering them as a JMG specialist.
Thanks, Sheena. Yeah, and that follow-up time with our young people makes sure they're successful for 12 months or more after they've graduated, I think is so critical. Really appreciate all three of your insights. Pat, as we pivot our focus now to employment and how all the factors we've discussed contribute to rising youth unemployment, 19.5% in Michigan in January, which is 8.3% higher than the national rate of 11.2%. Curious to know, what has Strada Education Network uncovered in its research that might help these outcomes?
Absolutely, Kristen. I want to first thank Anthony, Juwan, and Sheena for those amazing comments. It's really resonated with me. And being a person that's also in this space from an investment perspective, I really thank you for your honesty and your focus with regard to just what you're seeing and really being able to articulate that. That's so important. We at Strada are doing a lot of surveying and polling nationally in order to understand how people are being impacted by the pandemic. And, what's interesting right now is that for our young people, the biggest challenge is that adults are also being impacted at the same time. And to that end, I think this is where Sheena and Kristen, your comments are with regard to youth unemployment has decreased because you have so many adults that are out there that are competing for some of the same or similar types of jobs. So what does that mean for us in terms of how we continue to work through this pandemic and to be able to continue to increase the efforts of our youth in terms of their development? And that is, and we've talked a little bit about this already, through really trying to help them to build their self-efficacy skills, just the development of them as individuals. We talk about our communication skills or these soft skills now, and that is so important for us to be able to look at opportunities down the road in the future in terms of how you come across to an employer. The other thing that is so important right now is to utilize the skills that you have. And oftentimes, while you want to employment, while you want to really be engaged in a viable job, it's so important to stay on the right track and to look at not only volunteering, helping out, but looking at just how you can continue to sharpen yourself as an individual. Because believe it or not, we are going to get back on track. We will. And remember, I said knowledge is power. Your education is the most powerful component that you can have in terms of propelling your life in the future. So, Juwan, I'm so proud of you that you realized that the track you were on was not going to lead you to the destiny that really not only you wanted for yourself, your family wanted for you, but God wanted for you also. And so it's so rewarding to hear you say that you did the things that were necessary to refocus yourself. Antoine, your young brothers and sisters need you. They really do. Their friends need you. So those are the types of things that all of us have to do in order to remain on track. I would say this, that our ability to be able to even utilize technology in a way that it continues to strengthen us. You know, as I look at some of our partners out here that are working with youth, young adults, in terms of that age span of 17 and above, that some of the things and the guidance that I'm seeing them give is to really look at education as an opportunity right now, to be able to hone the skills, to understand the pathway that really will take you to your destiny. We all want nice things. We want that apartment. We want that car. We want that clothing. We want to look our best. And those things are important in life. But you know what? Being able to have wellness in terms of our life and to really take care of our mental state is also as important. And if there's anything that I think that has plagued us nationally is the fact that we've had to come into our homes, we've had to be less social. And believe you me, as the most extroverted person probably on this panel, that has probably been the biggest challenge for me, not being able to interact, you know, with individuals in the normal ways that I do. But Zoom does help that. So you kind of use that as your interaction. Sometimes I'll get on the phone with my friends and we'll just talk, not about work, not about anything, but just about life. I'll tell you, the other thing that this pandemic has done is I can think back to when we had the last recession. I was not on my game at that point in terms of having my financial position in place, okay? And realizing just what it took in my life in order to be the person that I knew that I was in terms of giving back to my community, in terms of engagement. And so therefore, what I really strove to do is to get my house in order. And when I say that, wherever you are in life, it's about getting your house in order and being able to survive through hard times. This is probably one of your first experiences with this, and maybe not necessarily because you know what your families have gone through. You know, hard times come on all of us. They do. The richest to those that are most challenged in terms of their finances. So don't think you're alone in that. Okay. So self-preservation, wellness, being able to take care of ourselves, being able to have healthy conversations. Those are the things that take you to the next level, but be patient. And if I can intimate anything else about where we are in terms of this walk, I believe that that self-preservation and just having that hope that we're going to get beyond this pandemic and there will be a new form of normalcy in our life. That is really the most important thing right now. But to stay on your pathway, get that CLD license, get that education, determine where you're going to go, because that's where we all have to really look at the opportunity as we're going forward and be able to share those stories, be able to share those personal walks, because those are truly the things that help us get to the next level. So Sheena, I'm going to come back to you for a minute and ask you about how have employers made adjustments in order to assist us in helping our young people to remain on track and to look at life as it exists right now and to get beyond that?
One thing I can say about the employers, Pat, that have engaged us, they have really, really looked out for our young people. A couple months ago, I mean, this year has just been exceptional because it is a pandemic. So we've been reached out, our department has been reached out to several companies asking for specific youth for different jobs that they are creating specifically for those young people. There's one, Carhartt, they reached out to us specifically and asked for, that this is something new for them. They partnered with us last year with the Grow Detroit Young Talent Program for the first time. And then this year they're like, oh, we want to get some of your young people over here working with us. So that's an excellent opportunity. We have an opportunity, the young people get to work with DTE. I actually work with the special project with Detroit Workforce of the Future, and they really try to help our young people to do whatever it is possible to help them to succeed. I mean, one of our young men last year, he wanted to work and something happened with his car. And, to be in construction, you need to have dependable transportation. So I said, well, I was talking to somebody and he works on cars. So the young man reached out to him. So they figured it all out, were able to assist him with getting his car fixed. So, they are really our employers that we partner with, I can say for sure, are definitely going over and beyond to make sure that our young people are employed, that they have good employment opportunities that are not, minimum wage, but opportunities that will allow them to have a living wage and really be successful.
And for those employer partners that are on the chat right now or that are engaging with us, what would you share with them in terms of the best ways to connect with our youth today? What are some of the things you've seen? Sheena, I'm sorry. I'm stay with you for a while.
Oh, I'm sorry. Some of the things that I've seen for as far as best practices, just allowing the young people to be themselves, while also delivering the expectation that this is a job and there are things that you have to do to be compliant, but allowing them, I think COVID and being in this pandemic has allowed employers to really try to show their human side because all of us have had to make tons of adjustments. So I think employers have really shown their human side to understanding and trying to make sure that they understand what young people may be going through as well, and to make sure that they, and being understanding. So when you're understanding that these young people are going through something they've never gone through before in their life, yes, they do have a job to do, but also that, we can make adjustments and make this work for everyone involved.
And just to continue along those lines, what do you see as the long-term impact of the pandemic on youth unemployment? Sheena?
My heart aches because of that, because so many of our young people have given up because they do have to do things virtually, and because so many of our young people are not virtual learners or workers. I get tired of being on Zoom. So I can only imagine, I have a job to do. So for young people, a lot of them don't consider going to school as their job. And I used to tell my young people, my kids when they were at home, your only job is to go to school. And a lot of young people don't have that support at home. So they, drop out of school, and they don't think that, they may be able to get a job, but it may not be a job with a living wage. And so that's the long-term effect that I think it'll have on our young people now that they are so disencouraged because they're having to do everything virtual, not having the human engagement and interaction. As Antoinette said earlier, like when they have a problem with something, they don't have a teacher right there to assist them and help them. So I think that's the biggest long-term effect. So I'm hoping that with the vaccine, things getting back to a little bit of normalcy, our young people will be able to go back to school and learn and get their high school diplomas, and even go, do their college in a hybrid setting, hopefully where they can go in person and virtual if that has to be the case, but in person, hopefully that'll eliminate some of these barriers that will have a long impact on employment for our young people.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sheena, so much for sharing those uh, words of wisdom with all of us out here.
Thank you.
So, Antoinette and Joanne, let me ask you guys both this question. We've asked you a lot of questions, but what do you want to share with us, as kind of a wrap up for yourself in terms of the experience with the pandemic, something that you would like all of us to take away and to know that will not only help your peers, but also just to help us that are actually out here within the community and as practitioners in this particular aspect of work to be better at what we do for you as young people and as you continue to grow. Antoinette, I'm gonna let you speak first.
Okay. I just want all the young people and the educators and mentors and stuff out here to know that that a lot of young people is trying and we're giving our best and not to give up on a lot of things such as going to work, doing school, plus having siblings to make sure they're good with virtual school and not giving up on, trying to move forward to college and then career goals. Stuff.
Fantastic. Absolutely. Those are very, very wise comments for us to take away from you today. And I thank you so much for sharing a little bit about your personal story with us and what your desires are. And you know what? College is in your future. We know it, we see it. It'll make you even come out a little bit more. Reach out to a college student, get in touch with your mentor, your specialist, have them introduce you to another college student. So it kind of helps you pave the way and to really get that paperwork started and be on the right track in order to continue exactly what you so much want to do, because you know what, that's going to help you and your family more than anything at this time and staying on the right track. Joanne, what do you have as words of wisdom for us today?
I think the biggest thing I can say, because I literally just said this to my friends the other day. During this pandemic, like I think everybody has learned a new skill about themselves that they didn't know that they knew they can do. Just going through the isolation, going through, having to do everything virtually, just everything that we had to go through in this last almost 2 years. It was almost 2 years now. It's just been like an eye-opening experience for adults and young people. And I think the biggest thing that you have to really realize is that as much as we do this for our families, we do whatever we do for our families. There's more to it. There's more to it just your families. There's a bigger purpose of what you do in your life than just your family or your friends. You have a bigger goal out there for yourself, and you just have to really figure out what it is. There's a bigger purpose out there for you. God has the biggest purpose for you, but you just really have to figure it out. Most of the people have figured it out already during this pandemic, but it's still some people out there still trying to find themselves. And I just want to tell those people right now that, it's people out here that's going to help you figure out what you need to do or help you in the right direction to figure out what you want to do for yourself in your life.
Excellent. And you know what? One thing I've thought about in listening to you is if you're not connected with someone already that has those CDL licenses, go on and connect with them because that's your path, you know, and to also look at that entrepreneur that's out there that's got their own business. I know here in Indiana, there are so many individuals that have been able to start where you are, but to be able to grow over time now. And don't be too anxious to get there too quick, but to grow over time in order to not only understand what the business really is about, but to be able to aspire to do so much more and to become business owners and to have their own fleet and employ your group of employees yourself so that you can impart some of this wisdom that you have gained during this experience. This has been so rewarding for me personally. Kristen, I thank you. I thank Sheena. I thank Jawan and Antoine for allowing me the opportunity to be a part of this conversation today.
Oh, absolutely, Pat. I would just like to underscore Joanne's comment because I think it's so important for all of us to leave with, you have a bigger purpose. To our panelists, I've seen the words insightful, transparent, candid come across in the comments. And you guys were every bit of all of those things. So thank you so much for your time today. Our immense gratitude to you, Antoine, Jawan, Sheena. Your vulnerability and insight has just been tremendous, as always. You represent the very best of Jobs for Michigan's graduates, along with your wonderful specialists who we've heard plugged today, and they deserve the credit as well. We could not be prouder of you or more grateful to each of you. And Pat, I'll say it one more time, you are a phenomenal co-moderator. I have had the pleasure to know you and work alongside you for the past 6 years, and you are just everything wonderful. So thank you for all your support.
It's my pleasure.
You guys are all just doing tremendous work. And Strata, thank you for your support of Youth Pathways to Employment Success. We're just tremendously grateful. So speaking of connecting and inspiring and all of the things we've heard about today, we do work with employer and post-secondary education partners throughout the state. You heard a few of them referenced today in Sheena's comments to expose young people to career opportunities. Connecting our youth to careers that match their interests and helping them set a course of action to reach those goals is a huge part of what we do. If you would like to learn more about our partnership engagement model as a post-secondary partner or employer and be a part of changing the lives of Michigan's young people, visit our website at outhsolutions.org. I would also like to thank our event sponsors for today's session, Lions Industries, WestRock, the Michigan College Access Network, Vail Rubber Works, and TCF Bank for making it possible for us to inspire and connect youth to achieve a future beyond imagination. Sponsorship information can also be found on our website. And last but never least, thank you to our audience for your time, energy, and interest. To improve these future sessions, we'll be sending out a request for feedback via email, and we appreciate your input as we continuously improve. We look forward to seeing everyone back with us in May for our Coffee with a Purpose session on mental health as part of Mental Health Awareness Month. Our panel will break down the stigma associated with mental health and broaden awareness of the growing challenge in the lives of young people. I've saved the date and registration will be forthcoming. In the meantime, stay safe and be healthy, everyone. Thanks so much for joining today's Coffee with a Purpose. Take care.